Welcome to the Medium in the Middle podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie, the Medium in the Middle. On this podcast, I share my journey as a developing psychic medium, as a Reiki master teacher, as an Akashic record practitioner, and anything else that's thrown my way. Join me every week. I release new episodes every Tuesday. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 55. I'm your host. My name is Stephanie, the Medium in the Middle. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I feel like time is just flying by. I can't believe we're already at episode 55. So just a reminder, there will be no new episode next week. I am going away and I'm not going to be releasing an episode, but instead I will be announcing the winner of my Instagram giveaway. So if you follow me on Instagram, I just hit 1,000 followers. Woohoo! So to celebrate, I'm giving away a free Akashic record reading with me. If you would like to enter the giveaway, go to my Instagram, like the Instagram, and there's a post there. If you tag some friends in the comments, you can be entered to win. So that will be closing a week from Monday. So it will be closing next Monday, and then on Tuesday I will announce the winner, and it'll be on my Instagram. So instead of a new episode, I will be announcing a winner. This week I am excited. It's my birthday. I'm turning 31. 31 seems so scary compared to 30. 30, I was like, yeah. 31's like, ugh. I said it yesterday and I was like, wow, I just said I'm 31. How boring. But I'm excited for cake because I'm gluten-free and dairy-free, so any excuse for someone else to make me a gluten-free, dairy-free cake, I'm excited for that. To start off today's episode, I'm going to pull a card from my new deck. Guys, I got some new decks. I still haven't played with them yet to check them out, but I'm going to use the Rebecca Campbell deck today. It's the Work Your Light deck, and I've used this deck before. They are oracle cards. I've used them before. My friends have these decks, and I do really like it, but I've never used my own deck, so I'm going to try to open the box for the first time. So the back of the box says, "You are the oracle." Hell yeah, I am. And these cards are fresh. Ooh, okay, I got to touch them all. One moment again. Okay, so I touched all the cards, and I shuffled the deck, and I got Council of Light, Divine Orchestration, Helpers in the Subtle Realms. So I asked what my listeners need to know, and that's what I got. So I'm going to look it up in the book if the book has descriptions. How do I know what number it is? Do I just look it up? Okay, bear with me while we figure out how to use a new deck. See, this is why I don't like using new things. I like the same. I like to eat the same things. I like to order the same things. I like to go to the same restaurants. I'm just one of those people. Is that a Libra thing? I feel like that would be cool to know. Maybe I'll have someone on that does things about star signs. Okay, so there's no directory, but I found it here. So, Council of Light. The Council of Light is a team of benevolent beings who are here to assist the rising of consciousness of the planet. They are here to help you achieve your soul mission and are guiding you every step of the way. However, because we live in a world where free will reigns, they cannot help you without your permission. If you would like their assistance, it is time to ask them. Ooh. They can help with all kinds of requests. Nothing is too big or small. Think of them as your personal team of helpers in the spirit realm. They are willing and ready to step in and get to work. What would you like help with? What tasks would you like to delegate to them? The Council of Light is a team of ascended masters, light beings, angels, and guides devoted to the rising of Earth and all humanity. If you are a light worker, it is from them that you receive your personal mission. Like a spirit world United Nations, they want to thank you so much for doing this work and devoting your life to uplifting the planet. Pray to them for clarity and guidance regarding your personal mission. Put in your requests and let them get to work. Well, this is very different than what I'm used to, but okay. Interesting. So that's what I asked what you needed to hear, so that's what you needed to hear, I guess. I hope that resonated with some of you. So besides a new deck of cards, I have other exciting news. All my Reiki courses for 2020 are sold out. They sold out, guys. You guys are incredible. And I'm so excited that so many people want to be learning Reiki. I'm so excited to be teaching Reiki. I love Reiki. Like Reiki, 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 Reiki. Reiki is the best. So that's incredible. I do have another level 2 scheduled January 16th and 17th. That is up on my website. I will be releasing another level 1. That will be releasing on my birthday. So October 8th is my birthday. It's coming up. I'm going to release a bunch of stuff on my birthday because happy birthday to me. Here's a bunch of things. And drumroll please. Dun, 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 dun. Meeting in the middle is a thing, guys. So thank you for everyone for helping me pick the name. I had 4 people tell me meeting in the middle, and I was like, that's perfect. So it's going to be a development circle, and I'm going to host them once a month on Zoom. They're $11 Canadian. They are 1 hour, and each month there's going to be a different topic. There's going to be different assignments that we do. There's going to be different practice exercises, and I'm going to talk about a topic each week that will be related to development, intuition development, mediumship development, Reiki development. It's going to be about really tuning in and getting the answers from within. So this episode is actually, I'm going to be talking about the Banff Wellness Retreat where I presented this weekend, and I was talking with a presenter, and I had said, I can't teach you how to be you. And she was like, wow, that's a quote you got to write down. So for meetings in the middle, I was thinking, the hashtag could be, I can't teach you how to be you, ... but I can help. Because I really want your power to come from within and not to look outwards for it. So I want to help with that. So that's what they will be. They'll be 1 hour Zoom meetings once a month. I have October and November and December planned so far. December is going to be a special one. It's going to be 2 hours and it's going to be all goal related. So I've always loved goals, and I love doing goals at the end of the year. I love reflecting back on the year and then planning goals forward. So that one will be not so development based, but goals are a huge part of development. So while it won't be very specific in a topic, it will be all about goals, looking back at the past year, looking forward at the next year. That one will be $22 Canadian, and it's going to be 2 hours. So that's just a special New Year's one that I really, really want to hold. And I thought, you know what? I've always wanted to do this in person. Why not do it online? Because every year I try to go attend one of these. They're usually on New Year's Eve, like early in the day. And I just love them. So I want to share that love with you guys. So the dates for Meeting in the Middle will be October 29th, November 26th. I'm sorry to my American friends. That's Thanksgiving for you, I believe, is the Thursday. I tried to make them Thursdays. And then in December, the goals one will be December 30th. All the information will be in the description box, but it won't be live until my birthday, which is 2 days after this would be released. So October 8th, this will all be going live. I'll also have a new Reiki level 1. I'll probably have 2, to be honest. So that's really exciting. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. If you are an iTunes listener, I would love a rating and a review. It really helps me out in the podcast world. So thank you so much for all the reviews and ratings. I really, really appreciate it, and I love reading them. If you did want to book an appointment with me, I do distance Reiki, and I also do Akashic Records online. That can all be booked on my website, themediuminthemiddle.com. Again, all the links will be below in the description. And you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, Medium in the Middle. Okay, let's jump right into today's episode. I am so excited to share my experience. I shared a little bit of it on Instagram, and I had a few people DM me saying that they want a full recap, and I said, oh, don't you worry, a full episode is coming on this. So, as promised, here it is. This weekend was the Banff Wellness Retreat. It is a retreat in Banff where we bring in different presenters, and all day there is a mind room and a body room. So the body room has like yoga and different movement classes, and the mind room is more of lectures and speakers. So this year I'm very involved with these events. Due to COVID, we did have restrictions and less numbers, but we did our best, and it was still incredible, even with following all the rules that we had to follow. Apart from helping run the event all weekend, on Friday night, I also got to present as a speaker, and I was speaking as Medium in the Middle, And my talk was called Exploring the Afterlife. And this was my write-up. Have you ever wondered what happens to your soul after you leave your physical body? Do you disappear? Does life end? Do you leave Earth? Experience an inside look into what happens to your soul when it leaves your physical form based on a medium's perspective from communication with spirit. Knowing that your loved ones are still around, supporting you and bearing witness to your life, even after they have left the physical world, can be a very hard concept to embrace. But having the reassurance is so comforting. Discover how you can tune into the energy of your past loved ones by growing your awareness to spirit and your intuition. So I had 1 hour to present, and I presented as medium in the middle. And I got asked a lot if I was nervous, and I wasn't nervous, but I was excited. And what I was nervous about was if spirit was going to come through and I wouldn't be able to control it. So before I even presented, I Reiki'd the room and I put up the tallest wall I could to say that no spirit was allowed to come through, no messages were being delivered in this session, and I didn't want to be distracted by spirit because they can be very distracting when they want to get my attention, and I wouldn't be able to present in front of people if spirit was trying to get my attention. So I put up a very big wall. I did have a few people come up to me after class asking about certain souls that have passed, and I just had to apologize and say that I put up a wall and I'm off. Like, I just could not be on and present at the same time. It just doesn't work that way for me. I can't do both. And also in my description, I didn't put that I would be channeling, so I didn't want to spring that on the audience if that's not what they signed up for. There is another retreat in November, and I am doing a channeling session then. So that's clearly noted and advertised, so anyone signing up for that class knows what they're getting into. But for this class, I didn't say that, so I wasn't going to do that. And I actually had someone come up to me before class, and she said, "Hey, I was interested in the medium in the middle talk." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's me." And she said, "Oh, okay, like I was actually just wondering if you were channeling because I just recently lost 2 loved ones and I'm not ready to talk to them. I don't want messages. And I'm wondering if I sit in your class, like, will they bother you? Will they want to come through with a message?" And I just explained to her that I was putting up a very big wall, like no channeling was being allowed, and I wasn't going to break that because normally I would if there was a message. I said that I just couldn't do both, and I didn't say that I was going to be channeling, so not to worry that there will be no messages delivered. Even if I get them, I will not tell you because that's not my job today. She said okay, and she was going to think about if she would attend or not. She ended up deciding not to attend, which I fully support and understand. If you just lost someone, it can be very difficult to probably hear what I was talking about, and even the possibility of it if she's not ready. So that was totally fine, but very good information. So at the beginning of my lecture, I did begin by saying, don't be on the edges of your seats waiting for a message from Grandpa. That's not what I'm doing today. So very good learning. So I do want to share briefly what my talk was about. If you are a listener of the podcast, there were some stories that I told. So I explained about me and how I got my perspective about what happens to our soul. So I explained about being a Reiki master, teaching Reiki, being an Akashic record reader, being a developing medium, and working with these things for the past few years, what I've learned, what I've discovered, and what my experience was. And I really wanted this presentation to be something that got the audience thinking, something that maybe got the wheels turning, something that made them think maybe differently to what they have beliefs in, or maybe confirm what they already believe in. But I didn't just want to kind of say my opinion and have that be taken. I wanted it to more raise questions within so that you left kind of thinking, like what about that? Or never thought about that. So after I explained about me and what I do and how I got my experience, I went into a few stories of my life-changing stories and the really big ones that made me believe in all of this, really, truly. I mean, I always did believe in the afterlife. I believe that we can communicate with souls, but until it happens to you, it just hits different. I mean, we could talk about it, we could watch it on TV, we could read books, but when you have your own personal experience, it's just next level. It's undeniable. So for me, I wanted to share that personal experience because I know and understand that not everybody gets a personal experience like I do. Not everyone gets to speak to spirit all the time. Not everyone gets those messages that make them know for sure that that was mom. So I want to share these so that if you don't ever get this experience, you can still hear about them. And maybe after hearing 10 of them, you're like, maybe that is true. So I started off by telling the Josh story, which is episode 9. And I also told a few other stories. So episode 4, Who is the Man in the Washroom, with Tara and her grandpa. Just to explain from the beginning when I really knew that this area, mediumship, whatever you want to call it, this modality can really change lives, can really affect people in a way greater than we could ever imagine. So I told a few stories and then I just offered some questions to the audience about what they thought. So I had this whole presentation planned and I had an hour. And when I was practicing, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be over an hour. Like, I hope people have a lot of questions because I wanted to leave some time for questions at the end. And of course, I forgot that when you're in front of people, you talk 3 times as fast. So my entire presentation was done in 31 minutes, which was fine that I can continue to talk. I have a podcaster. I'm used to having a microphone in front of me. I also have 55 episodes to pull from, so I had lots of other stories to share. And then I opened up the floor for questions, and I wasn't expecting the audience to be so engaged. My favorite part about presenting this weekend was having a microphone, being at the front of the room, and having, I think there was 33 people in my talk, having 33 eyeballs staring at me, and they were paying attention. It was just this powerful experience to be like, wow, I'm up here presenting and 33 people are paying attention to me and I can see all their eyeballs. At one point, someone was like sitting behind a woman, obviously they're in rows, and 6 feet apart. I was moving so that I didn't stand still and I could see her like moving around this woman's head so she could stay in contact with me. And I was like, wow, like this is amazing. I wasn't expecting that. I thought maybe people would just come and listen and maybe not really look at me. I did make a few jokes. You guys know I'm a jokester. They laughed at some of them, but not all of them. I opened up by saying that, I'm like, oh, you say you're a medium, and then no one sits in the front row. Like, ha, ha, ha. But as my presentation went along, I got more and more laughs to my very lame jokes. So that was really fun, and the questions were really good. I got to have a nice conversation with the audience. And then after class, I had people come up to me and ask more questions or want to book an appointment. I didn't make it very clear that I don't do mediumship readings, so I just had to explain that. The talk was more about trying to offer value and have the audience learn something. So I didn't want to be up there selling myself because I just wanted to share my experience, not be like, book an appointment with me now. And that was the vibe of the entire weekend. It was meant to provide value, not just be an hour advertisement about why people should book with you. So the fact that people came up to me after class was like really cool. And then throughout the weekend, because I was working the booth all weekend, I had people stop by on Saturday and Sunday just to say hello or tell me that they loved their chat. 20 minutes after, I got 2 Facebook messages that people liked my presentation. And these women said that I was one of their favorite speakers that they heard this weekend. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was so nervous and I talked so fast. I went through my presentation. And they were like, oh wow, we didn't even notice. We really enjoyed it. So it was just this really incredible moment. And I wanted to dedicate this episode to it because it was a big deal for me. It was a big deal for Medium in the Middle. This was the first time I've ever presented as Medium in the Middle. This was also the first time I've ever like spoken about mediumship and offered my perspective. This was my first time at an event. Like, I just want to stop and pat myself on the back because sometimes life goes so quickly. You just take these accomplishments and you keep on running. But for this one, I wanted to reflect on it and I just wanted to remember this moment because I feel like if you have a microphone in your hand 100 times, it's not as special anymore. I mean, it's still really cool and it's still fun, but you'll always remember that first time. That was this for me this weekend. So I was sitting in reflection all weekend and it was amazing and I got to connect with so many cool souls. And then on Saturday, I actually had a group come up to me and they said, "Hey, Steph, we really liked your presentation. Will you consider doing some off hours appointment with us?" And I said, "Yeah, I could do off hours. What were you guys thinking?" And they said, "Well, we were thinking about doing a group reading with the 4 of us and seeing what happened. Like, would you be willing to come to our hotel room, or maybe we could sit outside?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." And right away when this woman walked up to me, I got a feeling of her father, and I got really, really hot. So my entire body went boiling hot. I started to sweat. And I said to her, "Oh, like, are you hoping to talk to Dad?" And she said, "Oh, Dad never comes through. It's always Mom that comes first." And I was like, "Oh no, Dad came first and he came strong." So then I was like, okay, you know what? The fact that he came right away within 30 seconds of her asking me, I feel like this has to be a yes, because if it wasn't meant to be a yes, I would have gotten like a gut feeling in my stomach of no. But Dad came right away and I just like this woman's vibe. So I'm like, you know what? Yes, I will come to your hotel room. So again, this would be something that I would normally be nervous about because I haven't done a group reading since the episode where I did a group reading at my house where I invited 10 people over and I tested it. So episode 10, the group reading test, that was the last time that I officially sat everybody around and was like, okay, we're sitting in a circle and we're calling in spirit and we're seeing what happens. The fact that it had been over a year, maybe over 2 years, that I've actually tested this, I was nervous, but I just trusted that spirit would come through. And especially because her dad came so quickly, I knew that I would have at least one person to talk to. So Sunday came and we were meant to meet Sunday night after the retreat. And they said, "Hey, Steph, like we're actually going to finish the retreat early. And we were wondering if you could come earlier, because if you came at 8 o'clock, it would kind of be too late. And we wanted to get to bed because the morning we're getting on the road." And I was like, "Oh, like, I can't do it earlier because I'm working the event and I won't be done until 8 o'clock and I would feel bad working when I'm on the clock." And they were like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Why don't you let me know how you're feeling later on and we can always see how it is if we cancel it or if it works out." They're like, "Okay." So a few hours later they come by and I was like, "Hey guys, like I really can't leave the booth, but I could still do it at 8 o'clock. Completely up to you. Let me know." And the one girl was like, "Well, I still really want to do it." And then the second girl was like, "Well, I still really want to do it." And the other two women said, "Well, if you're both going to do it, like we'll stay up for it too." They're like, "All right, 8 o'clock it is." So I said, "Okay, I'll see you at 8. I'll come to your hotel room and we'll do it then." So I had to stay late because we were doing the teardown of the event. And then after the event, the girl who was running it said, "Oh, Steph, like, do you need to leave? Do you need to go meditate before your session? Like, go." And I was like, "Oh no, like I'm just going to go and just read." So as we were tearing down the last room, I started to randomly sing the song Super Freak. So I was dancing around the room singing Super Freak, Super Freak. And I was like, "Oh, that's weird." And everyone was like laughing at me. They're like, "Oh, Steph, like, why are you singing random songs? Like, ooh." And I was like, "Guys, maybe it has something to do with the fact that I'm going to be channeling in 15 minutes. Like, maybe it has something to do with that." So then I started to get some information. So I got the name Brad or Chad. Like the AD name was very strong. It was a dad and a husband. And I also got the name GE or George, that beginning. And then I got the song Super Freak. And I was like, oh, maybe this is another person for the group reading. So again, I was feeling super confident because when I went to the room, I was like, at least I have something to start with. You know, at least I can say, hey, I was just clearing the room and I started to get all this information. Is this for you? So I wrote it all down in my book, and when we were done cleaning up the event, I went over to their room. So I'm actually going to save the full experience for its own episode because what happened when I went was pretty incredible and it really blew me away. I had an amazing experience. The 4 ladies had an amazing experience. So I want to keep that as its own episode because it's also going to be long. So that will be in 2 weeks, the episode. There'll be part 2 of this. But I did want to share with you my experience from the retreat and just what happened. I met a lot of amazing presenters, a lot of amazing souls. It was really incredible to be in that space and be surrounded by other like-minded people for the entire weekend. So I had a lot of fun. And I'm very excited that we get to do it again in November. So because of COVID, the May one got moved to October. There was always one planned in November, but now they're just super close together. And then next year there will be more. But I'm excited to be involved in them. I'm excited to present, and I just love sharing my story. I love teaching. I love giving other people tools that they can take home with them. It was just such a powerful weekend where people are open to these different ideas, different modalities. They're going to these lectures and these body events with an open mind, seeing what they can take away from it, and then hearing their feedback and being able to connect with them all weekend. And just human connection was so powerful. So a big thing that we said about why this weekend was so special is because of COVID. We haven't been able to gather. We haven't been able to see people. We haven't been able to do things that we normally do. And then when we got to gather, even though it was in a small group, it was still so special and magical. So the vibes all weekend were high. It was a fun time. I learned a lot. It was perfectly run. Just everything was really, really amazing. I wanted to share that experience with you guys. My first ever presentation, my first ever talk as medium in the middle, and it just felt so good. It felt so right. I knew that I had to do this podcast, and then bringing it to real life was also amazing. So it was really fun. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed my little story. I'm excited to tell part 2 of this story because it was wild and I really wasn't expecting what happened to happen. So that will be out in 2 weeks. So there's no podcast next week. So no podcast on October 13th, but we will be back October 20th with a brand new podcast, which will be part 2 of this one. And when I go home, I am excited to get a lot of content with my grandma, and I'm going to attune her. So I'm going to have a lot to share about that. Again, if you want to stay connected with me, follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Medium in the Middle. My website, mediuminthemiddle.com, for all appointments, courses, signing up for Meeting in the Middle. But all that information will be on the website on Thursday, on October 8th. All the links for everything I've talked about will be linked in the show notes, nice and easy for you. Thank you again for listening. Thank you for being here. My name is Stephanie. I am the medium in the middle, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye, guys.